Are you ready to improve your editing by avoiding 5 simple mistakes? Okay, maybe 10. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Adrienne and I make tutorials on video editing. If you're interested in more tips and tricks for video editing, they're focused on beginners. Check out the description box below. In my previous video, I talked about 5 mistakes that I see beginning editors making all the time. And if you avoid them, then you're going to see a huge improvement in the quality of your video edits. Today, I'm going to be talking about 5 more mistakes that I see editors making. They are still beginner friendly, but they're a little bit more advanced. So let's get into it. The first mistake that I see when I'm walking, let's say, into a coffee shop is somebody sitting there in the middle of a noisy space trying to edit. Do not edit in noisy or distracting areas. Now I recognize I'm really lucky. I work from home. I have my own office space, but I have worked in an office environment where I don't have my own 4 walls and a door, and it's a collaborative room. In that situation, I wear noise-canceling headphones. We as a group always keep the lights really dim so it's easier to focus on your own machine and your own computer and your own project. I'll even silence my phone or turn notifications off for the period of time that I'm trying to focus. The goal here is to get into something called a flow state, and when you get there, your creativity can really fly. Something that I want you to consider if you are a person who shoots their own projects as well as edits them is the fact that you do not have to use every single shot you captured. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's remember your last shoot. You wanted a trick shot and it was hard to get. Maybe you had to try a couple of different ways. Maybe it was kind of risky to your equipment, but everybody on location collaborated, worked together, and when you got that shot, ooh, it was fucking awesome. And you've loaded it into your computer, and better yet, it looks badass. You need to stop and ask yourself, does this shot propel my story forward? Because it might not. You might feel emotionally attached to that shot, and so you want to include it. This is something that I see across YouTube. This is something that I see in a lot of beginner narrative and documentary work that I've seen at film festivals. Sometimes really cool shots like that can actually take your audience out of the experience and they lose their place in the story you're trying to tell. I know that I am very guilty of this. I have worked on projects before, some narrative and some documentary projects, where I've screened a rough cut to a group of people because I wanted feedback. And the feedback that I always got in the beginning was, that shot, it's really cool, it's gotta go. I felt really emotionally attached to it. I remembered what it was like to capture that shot in the moment, but it did nothing for my story. And it in fact held the audience back from really taking in what I was trying to tell. This is a mistake that I think is actually pretty easy to overlook. It's pretty easy to forget, but not using sound effects. Sound effects can really help create a layered experience for your audience, especially if you use them to illustrate B-roll that you're laying on top of the A-roll. If you pull out a few key sound effects and you layer them on top of each other in Premiere, make sure they're not all at the same decibel, it creates a really full, lush experience for your viewer. The next point I'm going to make is admittedly pretty subjective, but I want you to consider not picking the wrong music. Music plays a critical role in setting the emotional tone of your story. If you watch this particular clip of some people sitting in an airport waiting room and we play indie, happy, uplifting music, I think that they're going to be going off on a journey of self-discovery, and they're going to get into some situations that are lighthearted, maybe a little bit stressful, but everything will work out in the end. But if you take that same shot and you pick music that is ominous and dark, all of a sudden, as a viewer, I'm concerned maybe that airplane isn't going to make it to its destination. Or maybe they do make it, but there's something really terrible waiting for them when they disembark that airplane. Obviously, this is an extreme example. These are two extreme examples, but you do really have to consider the music that you're choosing. The best possible scenario is obviously if you can get an original score for your project, and that is great. It's so great to be able to collaborate with another creative person and really come up with the perfect music. But certainly a lot of us are also in the position of sometimes having to just comb a music library. And I really urge you to take your time and experiment with different songs in your edit in order to find just the right one. Also subjective, do not pick the wrong graphics. Graphics also contribute, surprisingly, to the emotional tone of your piece. As you can see from this clip, you have a person hiking through the woods, and you put graphics on top for your opening credits of your project, and they're sort of soft and fluffy and light. You are going to have a very different emotional reaction. You're going to have a very different expectation for what you think is about to happen than if you take the same shot and you instead put sort of sharp, harsh, minimal graphics on top of it. Just because you find a graphic that you like doesn't mean it is the right fit for this particular project. Hold on to it. Maybe you'll be able to use it for something in the future. And that's it from me. Those are 5 easy mistakes that you can avoid when you're learning how to edit in order to improve the quality of the projects that you produce. I know that I have certainly made these mistakes. Give this video a thumbs up if you have also made some of these mistakes. I'll leave a link up above for the other video that I did for 5 additional mistakes if you'd like a little bit more information. Please subscribe. I'd love to see you back, and I'll see you in the next one.